Listen to Downtown Hot Radio on the air 24 hours a day and 7 days a week.
Thank you for tuning into the Real Rap Radio Show. I'm your host, Walil Archer on Downtown Hot Radio. I have a special guest with me, author Lowther. How are you today?
I'm doing fine, sir. Thank you.
And let everybody know what city and state you're coming in from.
I'm here in Lexington, Kentucky, where it's sunny and beautiful.
Awesome. And we're going to talk about your book today. Let everybody know the title of the book.
The Unlikely Redemption of the Thief, Sidney Bridgewater.
And with that being said, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to ask the first question. What drives Sidney Bridgewater to steal $21 million over 28 years, and how does she justify her actions?
Well, she gets started with this when she initially gets employed. She works for 5 or 6 different employers, and she is skilled enough to set up a skimming operation, and she's never been caught. And her personal justification at the outset is that it's a reward for her brilliance. And so she doesn't feel like she's doing anything wrong because she's taking money from people who are never notice it's gone.
Wow, sorry to hear that. How does the book explore the themes of her guilt and remorse?
Well, that's what happens in the initial chapter of Sidney Bridgewater. She suspects there's, she set up these computer modules. No one's ever discovered it, but she's starting to get warning signals that someone's on her trail. And so she decides that she would rather come forward than to be chased down. So she does that through an attorney she picks, and they negotiate a settlement with each of the companies, and what the companies choose for a recompense, because the companies don't even know that they've been stolen from. When the attorney shows up and meets with their attorney, they say, "What money? We don't know anything about it." So, but they say, just in case you're right, we want some recompense. And so she offers to do this $1 million treasure hunt that goes on the internet and takes 2 years for someone to solve it. And all the time, each of the companies gets free advertising on that treasure hunt site.
What does Sidney lack of guilt tell us about her character?
That she's very impressed with her brilliance, but the title of the book, The Unlikely Redemption, is her process of going from none of this is a problem to, well, maybe I should take a different direction in life rather than be caught and suffer those consequences. So it's her choice to take a different route and to end the stealing operation, which she does by 2 or 3 clicks of the keyboard. It's all gone, and so now she's on her own, trying to figure out how to make her living.
Okay. And what are the key elements of Sidney's 3-stop plan, and how do they unfold throughout the story?
Well, her redemption plan is that she wants to do something for herself and for a friend, and for someone not her friend. And the first step is easy. The thing she does for herself is she is exonerated and gets to keep all the money. And the second, for a friend, she sets up two young people in business in return for them helping her on her various missions. And so she's becomes a private detective, and they help her out throughout the course of the book, and they end up with working businesses. So that's something for a friend, and something for someone not her friend are all the people that they are investigating, and so they have a list of people to find and to deal with, and they're all criminals too, but they are brought to an organization in London that chooses them for critical positions, pays off all of their debts and what they've stolen or destroyed or whatever, and they end up with legitimate jobs. So that's what she does for someone not her friend. And some of those become her friend as well.
And how do the attorney reconcile their professional duties with their involvement in Sydney's plan?
Well, the attorney says, I can't represent you until you end this operation. And so she does that. And then the attorney goes forth and meets with attorneys from the other companies. And the way companies operate is, even though you may have stolen millions of dollars from me, I don't want publicity about that because it's indicative that I'm not paying attention and I'm not running my business well. So I don't want the money back, the company says, but I do want you to do something in recompense. And they all say the same thing. And this is actually based in how businesses really work. Businesses would rather deal with things internally than have anything hit the newspaper. So that's the basis of that particular event in the story.
What did you find most surprising or unexpected about Sydney's journey?
That it was so much fun to write. She's a character with many aspects, and just exploring her character and what she would do in all of these different situations that she encounters. You know, she's goes to Milan Fashion Week and specifically to have her jewels stolen, and then to apprehend the person who does that. She gets involved in a high stakes poker game in Mississippi, and works with a gentleman in Rotterdam who has forged an old master and 17th century painting and has passed it off as original. And then there's a money laundering scheme that she uncovers. So those were fun things to write about and to learn about. You know, I had to read a whole book to find out how to forge, 17th century master. So that was very educational to me. So she was a very enjoyable person to write about.
Now, what do you want the viewers and the readers to walk away from after reading this book?
That it was a fun story to read. And though she starts off as a somewhat shady character, she ends up with having done some real good for the world. And so some of the readers that I've talked to said, I just really enjoyed it. It was fun to read, and I had trouble putting it down. And that's a good reaction.
That's good. And how long did it take you to write the book?
I spent about a year on it. This is book 2 of a trilogy. I spent a little longer on the first book and about a year on the third book. So, yeah, about a year. Takes about a year to write a book.
How many chapters in this book?
Oh. I don't remember.
Is it one chapter that you highlight more than the other?
I like the opening chapter a lot because that's where she initially confronts her situation and deals with it. And I like the chapter on the forgery, painting forgery, just because it was fun to put all my research into a story. So, but actually the whole book was really fun to write, and it went pretty quickly. So it's just that what I do is I write until the story is all told, and that becomes draft 0. And then I edit and edit and edit until it really sounds good. So it probably goes through 7 or 8 drafts before I say, well, this is good enough. I'm sick of reading it. Let's get it published.
So did you self-publish the book?
Yeah, I published it through BookBaby, that's their business. When I first started writing 40-some years ago, there was no such thing as self-publishing. You could get a publisher to publish your book if you paid for it. I had no luck at all attracting any publisher, any traditional mainstream publisher to be interested in my book. So I paid for the first ones, and I've paid for all of them, actually. I've written 7 books now.
And tell us about your book cover. Who designed your book cover?
BookBaby. They part of the publishing process is that they design the internal format, the external format, and they design the cover as well. And for this book, I pointed to a specific paragraph which described Sidney Bridgewater dressed in lavender, standing on the street corner in Oklahoma City. And they did a good job of that. Okay. So the cover picture is a scene right out of chapter 1 in the book.
And as we close out, any closing remarks or final thoughts that you want the viewers and listeners to know about Sidney Bridgewater?
I really like her as a character. She appeared in the first book as a bit player. I just had a small part just to introduce her. She's got this whole book to herself, and in the third book she doesn't appear at all because she's accomplished her mission, and there's no more to be said about her. So,
and where can you purchase your book at online?
You can get my books at Amazon. You can get them from the BookBaby, the publisher, Barnes & Noble as well. And you could go to my website, is micklowther.com, and you can see all the books I've written, and that will lead you to my eBay store, in which I sell them as well, but I don't compete with other people selling them. I sell at the same price that they do. So,
And where can they find you at on social media?
that's I'm on Facebook, and I have my own website.
Okay. Same name, Mick Lowther, on Facebook and website, micklowther.com.
Yeah. It's my website is micklowther.com, and it has scenes and pictures and descriptions of all of my writing.
Okay. So I'd like to thank you for your time today for doing the radio interview with Walil Archer on the Real Rap Radio Show.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me.
My pleasure. So that's my time today on the Real Rap Radio Show. And I'll see you guys next time on Downtown Hott Radio. Peace and blessings, everyone.
Listen to Downtown Hott Radio on the air 24 hours a day and 7 days a week. Tune in by downloading the Downtown Hott Radio's mobile app. Listen on our website, www.downtownhottradio.com.